Hello everyone, it's Sheila back again. Welcome to my channel. I'm just busy relaxing. I've been keeping an eye on the weather because I've had a lot of washing hanging out because it's been a lovely day. It's been lovely and warm. It hasn't been a lot of sun, but it's been lovely and warm and a little bit of a breeze, and the washing's dried in a couple of hours, no trouble at all. But I still have one or two things on the line, so I'm keeping an eye on looking at my window to watch in case there's any spots of rain. I may have to get up in the middle of this video. We are forecast for rain this afternoon, but it could happen any time, or it might not happen at all. We were forecast for thunder yesterday and a lot of rain, but I think we got rain later on, but we never got no thunder. So anyway, I'm doing a little bit of this little cardigan. I have my needle. I have the back done. My bra strap keeps dropping down my shoulder. I have done one sleeve. So I'm on to the other sleeve now. And then the two fronts. There. One of the fronts I had to pull out because I made a mistake and done the smaller size instead of the second size. I had 24 stitches instead of 28, and they didn't match up the top. When I got up to near the top, I had nearly finished it and had to pull it out, but didn't take too long, because it doesn't take too long to do the size when you use 28 stitches, you know, it doesn't take very long. So that one will not be too long, and that's for the lady that lives in Wales that's coming up to her daughter's. So I want to get that done. I'm putting a little collar on this one, little hat to go with it as well. And this will be another one of my PDFs I'm working out, so I'm doing another sleeve on it. And I've got a little rant to do. It's on Friday, I think it was. My phone I have, this phone, I have never ever had a contract. I always just have pay as you go, and I have been with the network 3 for years. Always just pay as you go on it. And when I first joined them, I think I came from O2 because they were very expensive and 3 were very cheap at the time. And I just put, I think it was about £10 I used to put on, and it used to last me about 3 months on my phone. Because you use calls and texts, but any data, you know, as you have your own broadband in your house, you use your broadband when you're in the house. And when I'm at my granddaughter, I use her broadband. Anybody else's I go to, we all share each other's broadbands, so it doesn't cost anything on your phones. And most places you go out to, pubs and things like that, a lot of those have, you know, the broadband that you can just log on to and that. So. And I do very little calls. Most of the ones I were just texts and that. So £10 used to last me about 3 months, and then they put the price up because the calls were very cheap. They were one of the cheapest around at the time. That was why I went with them. And they put the prices up, and then that £10 I put on wasn't lasting a month. So I started doing what you call an add-on. So I was putting a £10 add-on, and I got as many calls and as many texts as I wanted in a month, and I got 4 GB of data, I think it was. Well, I used very little of that data, and the calls and the texts, you know, was just whatever you needed to do, and I just put that £10 on every month. Well, I had to renew it on, I think it had went past it. I kept a little bit of credit on as well. I used to put about a £10 of credit on and just leave that in case I'd forget to do the next month's add-on, and then I had that little bit credit to fall back on until I put the add-on onto my phone. And I think I had forgotten about it for a couple of days, but Friday anyway, I thought, I better put an add-on onto my phone, add another £10 on. So I tried to go on, always, could not get through, it wouldn't recognise my number, kept saying it wasn't the number, didn't recognise the number, and I tried umpteen times and I could not get onto it. So the only option was to ring up 3 to find out what was going on. So I rang them up, and it was a nice young man. His name, told me his name. I think it must be an Indian call centre in India now. I think it used to be a Scottish one at one time, but it must have changed to the India call centre. It's probably cheaper for them. But there was a nice young man called Naveen, but he was a very quick talker. I was having trouble. I had to tell him to slow down, actually. He was giving me all the information on the, about 3 and all the rest of it. And I'm saying, oh, hold it, just slow down a bit. I says, you know, you're not the same nationality as me. I says, I'm having trouble keeping up with what you're saying. I think he was very nice. He laughed about it now, and he was saying it, but anyway, we got talking, and so I was telling him. He says, "What's wrong then?" And I told him. I says, "Well, I'm trying to put an ad on my phone." I says, "Trying to put £10 ad on." I says, "And it won't accept my. I've put my password in. I don't know how many times." And I says, "And it will not accept it. It keeps saying my number's not recognised." And he says, "Well, I'll look into it." And he come back. Oh, he says, "We've got a red flag up on your account for that number." And I says, "Why have you got a red flag on that for mine?" He says, "Oh, it's to offer you a monthly deal." I said, "I don't want a monthly deal. I just want an add-on." And he says, "Well, I'll have to tell you what it is because it's my job." And I said, "Oh, you go ahead then, please yourself." But I says, I want an add-on, that's all I want." So we go on, he was rattling it all off, and he's saying, "We'll have some nice deal, £45 a month or something. You get a phone." He says, "You'll probably need a new phone." I says, "I don't need a new phone." And he says, "Well, this is £45 for a new. What kind of phone have you got?" He says, "It's probably outdated." I says, "So I haven't even had it 2 years. What kind of phone is it?" I says, "It's a Samsung A52. "Oh yes, that's a good one, that one." Like, I says, "So I don't want a phone. I just want an add-on." So he's going on and he's telling me all these different accounts, you know, that I could have, and the sun's just shone into my room and it's spoiling this video. As long as the sun doesn't shine, it keeps it perfect. I'll try and turn the computer around away from the window a little bit. Might be able to do it this way. It's still bright because I don't want to have to go somewhere else with my phone. But anyway, he was going through all the different contracts and all that I could have, and everything, and then he says, "The cheapest thing we can offer you," he says, "is £6 a month." I said, "Oh, I'll have that." And he started laughing, you know. And I said, "Well, at £6, that's less than what I'm paying for the add-on." And I says, "What do I get for £6? He says, "As many calls." No, the sun's disappearing again. The brightness is starting to go off the screen. He says, "Many calls as you like, many texts," he says, "but there's only 3 GB of data." He says, "With the add-on you get 4 GB, don't you?" I says, "Yes, but," I says, 3 GB will do me fine." I says, "I use my broadband in my house. No trouble." I says, "And everywhere else I go, I use everybody else's broadband, so," I says, "that 3 GB of data a month is quite enough for me." I says, "I've noticed whenever I do use it, I'm lucky if I use 1 GB of the data anyway." So he was quite happy. So he was going through all the motions. He was quite happy because he got a sale from me. And I says, "Oh, and anyway, how long is this contract for?" He says, "It's a 24-month. I says, "Oh, well, that's all right." I says, "I'm still around in 2 years' time." I says, "That's all right." And he started laughing, and he had to take all my information, and he was asking you know, date of birth and all the rest of it. And when I told him my date of birth, I said 21/04/1946. He started laughing. He said, "Oh, I see what you mean about you sit around in 2 years." I said, "Hey, there's no need to be cheeky." And I'm going to count my rows while I'm doing it, before I start seeing anything else, because I'm going to knit more than I should. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got to change needles. Oh, and I've switched my computer around. My needles are cut around the back behind my computer. There it is. But then he started laughing, and I had quite a conversation with him. He was quite a nice young man, that, and he was telling me everything, and he says, just joking, and he said, you know, he says, I didn't realise, he says, I've just worked it out. He says, you are 77 years of age. I says, yes, I'm 77 years of age. And he says, you know, he says, I would love to talk to you face to face, but he says, I can't. He says, because he says, I just like this, what you sound like. And I says, I'll tell you what, I've got a YouTube channel. I says, it's called Sheila's Knitting Tips and Other Stuff. I says, if you want to see me face to face, I says, just to look to see me, I says, subscribe to my channel and you'll see, you'll be able to watch all my videos. And he started laughing again. He says, my mother loves knitting. I says, well, tell her to subscribe to my channel. And so anyway, we finished all the conversation about the account and everything, and he said, we'll be sending you out a new SIM card. And I said, why do I need a new SIM card? I says, I'm already with 3. I've got a 3 SIM card. He says, listen, he says, you are pay as you go. He says, this is a monthly account. You have to have a new SIM card. So, all right, then I've got to have a new SIM card. What do I do about that? He says, shut up and listen. He says, I'm getting the SIM card will be sent out to you. He says in the next couple of days. It actually came the next day, but in the next couple of days, he says when it comes, put it into your phone, ring us back. He says, and we'll transfer your number, because I had said that I wanted to keep my number. He says, we'll transfer your number. But something he didn't tell me, which either he forgot or thought he didn't need to, but I had to have what you call a pack number for to change my number from this new SIM card to keep my same number. But anyway, that's what I thought he did, and so I said goodbye to him, like Naveen, and said I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you. I says, you're a nice young man. So the next day, it was actually the next day on the, this was Friday, yes, it was on the Saturday morning the SIM card actually came. So I put the SIM card into my phone. No, I've got it wrong. It was Thursday when I was speaking to him, and it was Friday when the SIM card came. I've got the days mixed up. It was Friday when the SIM card did come. So I put it into my phone and I rang up the people, and I got somebody else. It wasn't the same young man, it was a different one. We have a lot of different, people answering the phones and that. And he was another nice enough young man, and we're talking, and I told him about the account I'd taken out, and he took my information and everything, and he said, what's your pack number? I said, what's pack number? What's a pack number? And he says, well, for the change from one SIM card to another to keep your number, he says, because you've changed from a pay-as-you-go to an account, he says you have to have a pack number. So I says, well, how am I going to get that? And he says, well, I'll transfer you to another department. He says, there's a young lady called Mary. He says, you speak to Mary and she'll give you the pack number. So he put me on hold, and then he transferred me to the Indian girl called Mary. I started laughing when he said that, I thought, an Indian young lady called Mary. I think they must use English names for us English people. So anyway, he put me through to Mary, and she was asking about the pack number, and she'd give me a pack number and something to do. I had the new SIM card in my phone, But for her to do whatever she had to do, I had to have the old SIM card in my phone. And I thought, well, if I take that card out, it's going to cut that call off. Then you have no idea what you have to go through to get onto that, to get to speak to somebody. Every single thing they give you, every number they tell you, there's not a single one that tells you to speak to somebody. They're all for this, that and the other. So I'm saying to her, well, you mean I've got to take the SIM card out and put the old one in? She says, well, you're going to have to ring us back again because she says once you take it out, so that's what I had to do. I don't know who I got on to. It took me about 15 minutes to get through all the different numbers. You had to ring the telephone number. Then it came up with a lot of numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and not a single one of them said anything about getting a pack number. So I was just trying all of them until it clicked on one number, and that gave you a lot of other numbers. And there wasn't the number that I wanted in that, so I clicked on the next number and kept going back and back again. It took about 15 minutes to get through. Finally got through, and I think I ended up with the same girl again. I managed to get the pack number. I wrote the pack number down. So then she says, she put me through to another young man. I think the young man I was speaking to the second time, the second young man, not Naveen, the first one, the second one. I forget what they called the other man. But you put me through to him again, and he says, well, went through all the motions, I gave him the pack number, and he says, well, ring us back on Monday, and he says, and we'll put the new SIM card into your phone, and he says, and we'll work it from there, and then you'll have your number transferred. So that's what I did today, and I got that young man Naveen again. He didn't recognise me at first, but we were talking away, and he said his name, and I know there could be a lot of young men called Naveen, but I did recognise his voice, and I just let him talk on, and he was telling me, and I had to go through all information again, date of birth, and your name, address, and the whole lot. It's just so complicated. And then he said to me, for something I had to do, he'd have to give me some identification number through my email. Well, I haven't a clue how to go onto when you're on your phone talking to somebody, how to go onto an email on the same phone and find out this number that they're going to give you for a verification thing. So I thought, oh, it's okay, I've got my computer on. I says, just send me this number in an email, because I have my computer in front of me, because I can't work out how to do it on my phone. I says, if I try to do it on my phone, I'll probably cut you off. So I says, if you send it through to an email, I can get it from my computer. So he sent it through to the email, through to my... now, if it had been my Gmail, I would have got it straight away, because my Gmail... I just click on it and it comes up. I don't even have to put my password in. But it was through my Sky. I'm with Sky for my broadband, so it was going through my Sky email. So I forgot, and I brought up the Sky email, and it was asking for the password, and I think, I'll have to put my password in. So I was putting the password in for the Gmail, and it kept coming up. I tried it about 3 or 4 times. And eventually it cut me off, wouldn't let me do it again because I kept putting the wrong number in. And so I was telling this young fella, I says, I can't tell you what that verification number that you've just sent through the email, because I says, I've been locked out of my email, I can't get in. And he kept, he didn't know what to do. And I says, look, I've got a Gmail as well as this one. Can you not just send it again through there? And I can't do that. He says, it can only go through the one that will have registered with you. We haven't got the Gmail registered. Went through a lot of other palaver and all that, and then he gave in the end, and realised, I think they might have thought that I was somebody just trying to start an account with somebody else's thing, but then he recognised me, and he says, that's Sheila, isn't it? Yes, it's Sheila. I'm getting very well known over the Indian call centre. And he worked it out anyway, and he said, It'll be the next few hours that sun's shining again and it's spoiling this video. He said it'll take a few hours. He says it'll be either sometime today or sometime tomorrow. He says your number will be transferred over. So he says just leave your new SIM card in your phone. He says you don't have to do anything else. I says, you mean I don't have to phone you to tell you that my SIM card's in my phone? Or he says, no, forget about everything and just get back onto your YouTube and get on with your knitting. He says, I don't know whether he's been looking on my YouTube channel or what, but that sun, honestly. I knew I should have used even if I'd put my tablet up, the sun affects that as well. But anyway, that was just a little bit of a rant today about having to call a call centre to do with your phone. It's terrible, the process you have to go through, the number of numbers you have to go through. You know, those calls, they weren't free calls, and I had a little bit, I think I had about £5 left. I used to put about a £10, when I used to put an add-on on my phone, I had about £10 add-on. And then I used to put a £10 credit, so if my add-on ran out, I still had some credit there I could use. And I think I had about £5 of credit left on, and nearly all that credit went on these phone calls to trying to sort out this to get an account with 3. But it's on now, and I tested it. You know, I had to use my house phone. I had to phone my mobile to see whether they had transferred my number or not, and it's been transferred, so. Anyway, that's my little bit. I'm getting back to my knitting, getting some more knitting done, and still the sun's shining. At least there'll not be any rain yet, I hope. So, with thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you all another time, so bye for now.